What's going on,
Henderson.
man?
Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
What's going on? I'm from Weaver, Alabama, man.
Okay, cool. What's your name, man?
My name is Luke. Just a few things, man. I don't know if LSU has faced our defense, a type of defense like we got, and that's the only thing that kind of like settles me out about this whole situation. You know, because our defense is stopping everybody.
Yeah.
And as long as they do most of the work, Jalen Milroe is going to take care of the rest.
And I think that has been...
Everybody's hating on the dude. Everybody's hating on Jalen Milroe, who lost us 2 games last year, who didn't win a natty the year before that and last year. But no one called for Bryce Young's head. I love Bryce Young, great quarterback. But if we're going to, call for Milroe's head, why y'all didn't do it last year to Bryce Young when he lost 2 games?
It seems like the scapegoats were Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding, right? Whereas like every single time
because
something, right?
Because everybody liked Bryce Young. Why don't they like Jalen Milroe? Is it a style? Is it not to bring up race, but because he's darker than Bryce Young? Come on, man.
I think honestly what it is with Jalen Milroe is 2 things. I think number one, I think some of that is on Coach Saban, the way he handled the early season quarterback battle, right? By not naming somebody and what that did. And I get it. He's playing chess or whatever, but I think that like him not naming the guy created division, right? And I think it became like the fans became split, right? So now you're starting to see more people jump on the Milroe bandwagon, but there was a great amount of people, maybe 50% or whatever, that were pulling for Simpson and Buckner, and then the rest were pulling for Milroe based off what had happened last year. So that was one of the things, right? Why people aren't sold on Milroe, because they're still kind of hurt that they wanted Simpson or Buckner to be the starter, probably more Simpson. And then I think the second thing is that those 2 interceptions that Jalen Milroe threw against Texas affected the fan base monumentally, because that was still during the time of the cake bake-off. Because so people still wanted to see, they were like, see, I told you so. And then the fact that there was a rumor that went around that he was benched because of his attitude against South Florida. So that may be a third thing. And that became like an attitude thing. We don't even know if that was true or not. We might just think that it might just be the case that Saban was giving Simpson and Buckner opportunity to showcase their skills at that time. But I think those 3 factors have carried over and kind of been like the stigma on Jalen Milroe, whereas like Bryce Young was the guy before and then was the guy again. So I think that certainly has transpired to some of the reason why people don't like Milroe or haven't bought into Milroe just yet. But I mean, the guy continues to improve. And people will point out all the bad stuff just because, that he's under a microscope following the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, because he's behind Tua Tagovailoa, because he's behind Jalen Hurts, because he's behind Mac Jones. I mean, there's no other quarterback room in the country that has as much pressure and scrutiny as the current quarterback at Alabama. 1,000,000%. I mean, look who just played on primetime football last Sunday night. It was Tua versus Jalen. Right. So like this dude is taking over the reins for the number 1 quarterback, like and I'm not saying, so the expectation should always be high, but I think with Jalen Milroe, even more, the microscope is on him. And then the way that everything was handled in the front has, kind of been the spillover to what we're seeing this year.
Yeah. I can't tell people how to look at situations, but if you pay attention to, football or past players, look at what Bryce Young's doing in the NFL right now, because he doesn't have help from the offensive line. Shit like that, you should be able to take that and be like, okay, well, I see what's going on with Jalen. I don't think Bryce Young could have won that Texas game this year. The penalties were what killed us. We won that game. Let's not lie to ourselves when it comes down to it. We won that game. And that's why, now I'll go into one of your questions, kind of, the top 4, and I can't put, Michigan signed still, so I ain't worried about them. They're about to start losing. Or Washington, they're not playing anybody, man. My top four is Ohio State, Florida State, Georgia, and Alabama, bro. Georgia ain't played nobody either, and that's another thing I'm worried about. They lost Brock Bowers. They got a schedule coming up. If they lose, what happens when they lose? And then, so what? We beat a 11-1 Georgia in the SEC championship. Then what happens?
I think what happens, and good call from Weaver, Alabama. I'm with Luke. I think what happens is if Alabama is able to continue to run the table, and if Georgia is to lose a game or lose two games, I think the fact will be that Alabama has momentum and that they have won what will it be, like 9 or 10 games in a row at that point. And I think because they lost early, that shouldn't affect them overall. And I think winning the SEC championship will certainly bolster them into that playoff spot. Alabama beats Georgia regardless of what Georgia. Now, it's going to matter way more if Georgia's unbeaten, but even if they have one loss, it doesn't matter. I think the fact is that Alabama has been rising all season, a late win. I don't think Alabama gets left out.
All right. Yeah, that was my biggest thing that I've been thinking about because, Georgia lost Brock Bowers, and they ain't played anybody with the defense at all. They haven't played a team yet.
I know their schedule. Their schedule has been like
cakewalk schedule.
Yeah, their best win right now. Would you say it's Auburn, or would you say it's Florida, or would you say it's Kentucky?
Their best win is Florida. Their worst win is Auburn.
Right?
Auburn should have won that game.
I know, until Brock Bowers just completely took over in the third quarter, fourth quarter. It was crazy.
But that's the saddest thing, like Auburn almost beat them. A few other teams killed them in the first half. They haven't been nothing but a second half team. And I mean, that kind of is with us too, but we've played people. They haven't played anybody. They're a second half team against trash. So
I guess
we played trash, when Jalen Milroe started and we played Middle Tennessee, we got to our second string quarterback. We wiped the table with them. And I feel like even though I think they should have looked at so much more besides Milroe when it came to that South Florida game. I don't know if they wanted to play other people or what to see where they were at, but I feel like they should have stuck with Milroe and went all the way out and played them other people in the second half or something. Because, even though Milroe's taken it like a champ and came and won all these games, his head could have been somewhere else during that Ole Miss game and all that shit because of the way things were going. The man was afraid to get pulled. So I don't know. I've been with Milroe since last year. The man came in on an offense that wasn't planned for him and won 2 games for us. He's proven that he's going to win, and you can't put all that stuff on Texas on him. The man, he threw 2 bad interceptions. How many interceptions did Bryce Young throw last year? I don't even remember, so I'm not going to say a number, but during that LSU game and that Tennessee game, he probably threw 1 or 2. If I remember correctly. So, I mean, those things happen, but I don't know. Anyways, if LSU can hold up to, if Alabama can hold up to LSU's offense, if our defense holds up to offense, we're good.
Yeah.
That game's already done with.
I appreciate the call, Luke. Call in anytime, man. You got anything else before I move to my next caller?
No, that's really it, man. Just believe in Milroe, believe in our defense, and we're gonna take it to the ship.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in, man. I hope you have a blessed Sunday, man. Call in next time for sure, Luke. All right, man. Real talk to you.